Welcome to the Bruins Benders Podcast, Season 2, Episode 32, Bruins Panthers Game 4 recap with Maddie and Smitty, brought to you on the Inside the Rink Podcast Network. InsideTheRink.com is your one-stop shop for all your NHL and ECHL news, insight, and analysis. Follow on Twitter at inside_the_rink. Download the Inside the Rink app and subscribe on Inside the Rink's YouTube page. Smitty will tell us about ESPN+.
Yeah, you can sign up for ESPN Plus at the Inside the Rink website. Go to insidetherink.com/ESPN. I have ESPN Plus, and I love all the out-of-market NHL playoff hockey, college sports, and much, much more. So sign up for ESPN Plus at insidetherink.com/ESPN.
Well, earlier today, it was Game 4 in Florida. Bruins up 2-1, and they put together another solid effort in a shorthanded group as Bergeron and Krejci both miss Game 4. The Bruins get the lead early on a Brad Marchand goal after being outshot 10-0 early. But from there, the Bruins kept getting a little bit better, and the Panthers kept getting more frustrated. Jake DeBrusk scored on a great tip of an Orlov pass in front of the net. Panthers would make it 2-1 on a sort of a lucky bounce goal off the side of the net for Matt Tkachuk. The Bruins take a 3-1 lead on a beautiful tip by Tyler Bertuzzi. The Panthers score a power play goal to make it 3-2, but the Bruins take over from there. Huge goal by DeBrusk. Then an unreal individual effort by Taylor Hall, who was great today. World-class talent, and he's finally showing that on the big stage. And then Hall gets the empty netter. Tkachuk takes a couple of shots at Linus Ullmark, and Ully, he wants to go. He throws his blocker at him, and this Bruins team is really a really deep wagon like we thought they were.
They are. Like you said, they had to kind of weather the storm early. The Panthers came out hard. They were really pinching the defensemen down the wall and really hemming the Bruins in their own end. And the shots, bared that out, 10-0 at one point. But then the Bruins, get a couple on a nice play by Taylor Hall, taking the puck to the net. They get the power play, and then they score. And the power play has been, kind of under attack recently. He hasn't been great towards the end of the year. And then they kind of got it going there late in the season, last 2 or 3 games. I think they were 7 for 14 or something like that to kind of get it going. And then in the playoffs, it's been, hit and miss. But when it's hit, it's been a weapon. And they've scored some big goals. And they scored a big one tonight to get them out front early after the Panthers had come out that hard. And then, they took over the game from there. So really nice win. Great to take 2 on the road, especially without your top 2 centers.
And it was nice to see, too, that Hampus Lindholm was much better today. The first couple of games of the series, a little bit shaky. You started to wonder if, playoff hockey was going to get to him or what was wrong with him, really. But it was Patrick Donnelly, who writes for the Boston Sports Journal, who had these stats with Hampus Lindholm on the ice today. Bruins outscored the Panthers 3-0. High danger chances were 8-2. Scoring chances were 17-6. Shots were 12-8, and shot attempts were 25-17 when he was on the ice.
Yeah, so he kind of reverted back to the player that we thought he was. Same with Charlie McAvoy, same with Dmitry Orlov. We mentioned it after Game 2. All those guys needed to be better, and they have been. They were much better in Game 3. They were much better in Game 4. And that's the depth that the Bruins have on defense. I think that can wear some teams down over the long haul. If all those guys are playing more than 20 minutes a night, and including Brandon Carlo, that's a tough group to have to go against.
Sure, absolutely. All right, 7 Chirps are sponsored by Lops Brewing, Lobster Brewing and Tasting Room in downtown Woonsocket, Rhode Island, specializing in small batch ales and lagers. It's open 7 days a week. Use the coupon code SPORTS to get 10% off your online order. Go to lobsbrewing.com and also follow them at Lobs Brewing for new beers and events on social media. Chirp number 1, with a 3-1 series lead now, do you sit David Krejci, Patrice Bergeron, and Linus Ullmark, or do you think they will sit them?
I'm not sure what they'll do. I think Bergeron, they said, was likely for Game 5. So my inclination is you sit him. If he's not, 100% or 90% or as close as he can be to, prepared. And if the extra days are going to to actually help him heal. Like if it's something that he's just going to have to battle through for the rest of the playoffs, and it can't get any worse. I don't know. Maybe you play him, but my inclination is Krejci was unlikely, so he sits. Bergeron likely, I would sit him too. And Allmark, I guess there's a possibility he could get suspended for throwing a closed blocker at Tkachuk. I mean, he didn't even really hit him. He hit him kind of with the palm of his hand rather than the actual blocker edge. I can't see him getting suspended. Maybe a fine, if anything. But I think Allmark's back in there for Game 5. He was excellent today, especially early on when he really needed to be. So it's his net. So I play him and sit the other two guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Bergeron's ready to go, I think they'll play him. I think they'll play anybody who's ready because that's been their recipe. Even if the fans don't think they should, they've been playing players who are ready to go all the way through here. So I think that they'll play the people who are ready. I get why they don't. I get why they keep playing Allmark because he's your best goalie, and I think going back and forth can lead to some risk there and then some second guessing. So I know why they're going with Allmark the whole time, but he does look more and more like he's having a hard time getting up. He's slow to get up. Looks like he's bothered by something. But I'll tell you what, really impressive. He's been really, really good, even if he's fighting through something. It's really been remarkable and says a lot about him. All right, chart number 2. Charlie Coyle is coming to his own as a terrific 200-foot center. 15 of 19 on the faceoff dot today. He's playing a Selke Award caliber game.
He really is. He's been kind of their unsung hero through all this. With Bergeron out and with Krejci out, someone really needed to step up and be, that 200-foot guy that can do everything for you. He was great on the penalty kill today. He's just doing all the little things right, back checking hard, being physical, possessing pucks down low. He had a goal in game 3. So he's really playing a solid all around game. And he's always had that potential. It's always been there. He just, some nights it's his skating legs aren't there all the time. So when that happens, he's not as effective, but he's really kind of stepped up here when he's had to in the playoffs.
Yeah, and Coyle's been really good all year long. And,
he has.
He's a guy that people sort of scoffed at when he got so much money. They thought he may be a little bit too expensive, but right now he's showing his worth, especially with Bergeron and Krejci out. He's been really, really good. Chart number 3, for all the scrums and cheap shots, the Panthers never seem to want to fight. Will we see some scores settled late in Game 5?
If it's out of hand, there's a possibility because I think the Panthers will resort to more of the same, more cheap shots, more dirty plays, more little minor annoyances. Trying to, again, today they tried to put the puck in. I think it was today. Tried to put the puck in again after the whistle. Carter Verhaeghe shot it in after the whistle, and McAvoy was yelling at him. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to do everything they can because they're the less talented team to get under the Bruins' skin and try to get some power plays, get the Bruins off their game. And the Bruins, to their credit, have played through everything. They've stood up when they've had to. I'm 100% positive they've taken some numbers with Tkachuk, with Lomborg, Verhaeghe, Montour, some other guys that have taken, some liberties. Ekblad, before he was out today, took some liberties and some, made some little dives. And, a few of their other guys are diving around the net. Cousins had an unbelievable dive today. He looked like fucking Greg Louganis out there when Allmark, gave him a little whack to the pants, and he dives like he was killed. So there's all these little things. So if the game gets out of hand in Game 5, I think maybe they will try to settle some stuff up. But if not, definitely next year, you'll see some guys drop gloves. I'm 100% sure Freddie will be looking for Lomborg, and there'll be guys looking for Tkachuk and some other stuff. That Tkachuk had the nasty cheap shot on Hathaway today, and we'll see whether Tkachuk faces any kind of discipline for that. I don't think he'll get suspended. I don't think it rose to that level, but maybe a fine there as well or something. But look at if the referees would just give Tkachuk the 2-minute penalty when he initiates all this shit,
Right.
it would all end.
It would end.
Because
Yeah,
he would
because you
stop
can't
doing
keep
it.
going to the box.
Yeah, you can't keep going to the, but he lets them get away with it. So like tonight, he gives McAvoy a little shoulder when they're skating by each other after the whistle, then a little shove. McAvoy whacks him in the shin pads. Then Tkachuk comes back at him, and they both go. Well, if they had called the initial
Right.
thing by Tkachuk, then it wouldn't have escalated.
Right.
But they let him get away with it because that's the type of player he is. And they're like, well, we can't put him in the box the whole game. Well, you could, and maybe you would fucking learn.
Right.
But they don't seem to want to, especially in the playoffs.
No, and if you call the little bag tag by Bennett today on Hathaway, while he's a little cup check, I mean, I mean, that's just ridiculous. I mean, the guy's laying prone on the ice, bunch of feet around him. He's on his belly. There's nothing in, and you give him a little cup check with your stick. I mean, that to me, that's pretty egregious. Like, you don't want people spearing people.
I mean, Marchand's been suspended for that. So I mean. Marchand's been suspended for that. So I mean, spearing to the groin area is a suspendable offense. It is.
It should be absolutely frowned upon, and has been in the past.
So
it's picking and choosing, and inconsistency.
Yeah, but the Bruins get all the calls.
Yeah, I mean that's what. Yeah, I love that. The Bruins get all the calls. I'll tell you what. Typically in the playoffs, you don't see a lot of scores settled.
No, you don't.
Like, you don't see that, and people are like coming into today's game, it's gonna be a bloodbath. No,
yeah, people were out for blood today, 100%.
1975.
No,
it's not gonna be a bloodbath.
No. The scores get settled in the regular season when the wins and losses don't matter. Now the win matters more than the score being settled. You win on the scoreboard, and when you shake your hand, you smirk at them, maybe give them a little "fu" under the breath there, and say, "We'll see you next season, buddy. Enjoy the golf."
That'll be it.
Yeah.
Chirp 4, nobody has benefited more from the addition of Orlov, in my opinion, more than Brandon Carlo. He's able to play his game tonight, 6 blocks, 2 hits, 4:41 of shorthanded ice time. And Carlo is, there's been some, of course, he's not terrific with the puck and all that, but in the large scheme of things, I mean, I think he played 22 minutes tonight. He is a stabilizer back there when he's on.
He is. When he's playing his game, he's a shutdown defenseman. He's big. He has long reach. He's physical enough, not as physical as any Bruins fan would want him to be.
Sure.
But he skates and he shuts down a lot of plays with his reach and his positioning and his skating. And he's what we wanted him to be. This is what you envisioned Brandon Carlo to be. When the Bruins drafted him, a big shutdown D-man, that could skate and he doesn't move the puck probably as much as people would like, but all the rest of his game is really good when he's playing his game and playing the right way.
Yeah, I mean, right now, playing the way he is now, he's so worth the $4 million a year. I mean, he's really proving his worth as well. And Carlo, when he's on like this, and I'll tell you, as a team, the Bruins are so good with their sticks. Like every stick positioning, poke checking. I mean, how many times are the Panthers trying to get a rush going and someone poke check someone and we're going the other way? Like it's just uncanny how good they are with their sticks as a team. All right, Chirp 5, cheap shot by Matt Tkachuk and Sam Bennett, among others. Does the league need to crack down, or does it actually add some entertainment value and you let some of it go?
Well, I mean, it definitely adds entertainment value because now you have villains in the series, and that gets everybody engaged, and everybody's blood's boiling, and everybody wants blood and's out for blood. So it's entertaining. It definitely is entertaining. Like the scrum at the end, well, Allmark's taking his mask off and throwing his gloves down, and like he's ready to. Yeah, I mean, he's ready to fight, and then you got forward squaring off, and somebody Lauko's giving Lomberg a headlock, and there's all kinds of shit going on. That's entertaining. It's good for the game, in my opinion. Should they crack down on it? Yeah, some of the suspendable stuff, sure. Like the cross check, I don't think rose to the level of suspension. It should have been a penalty. Yeah. And I don't know if you can give a guy a major penalty for cross-checking somebody in the side, in the rib area. But it should have been a penalty, which they called. But a chop to the nuts, that's a suspendable offense. Like that kind of stuff you got to crack down on. The blindside hits, the boards, the cross check to the nuts or the neck and the head area. Those kind of things you need to crack down on. But all the little tiny, under your skin, scrums and kind of like in football, what happens at the bottom of a pile stays at the bottom of the pile. It's a little entertaining. So I think that's good for the game, and it's nice to have a villain to hate.
I actually am in favor of when they let you scrum and face wash and stuff in front of the net, because I think you need to do that to keep people away from the front of the net. And I actually don't mind. I mean, tonight there was an egregious one where Montour cross-checked down but Pasternak, like right in front of the net, and got a penalty. That's too much. And Gudis the other night, he cross-checked someone, Marchand. He pretty much tackled them all around the ice for like 20 seconds and didn't get a call. That's a little too much. But I don't mind, like, putting someone down in front of the net or moving them, or scrumming or fighting for position in there. I think you let some of that stuff go, as long as you let it go. But if you give the third face wash guy the penalty, that's when I have a problem.
Right.
That's when I have a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes to if the puck's in the area, all bets are off. I mean, you should be able to, scrum, fight, cross-check, whatever. Like, puck's in the area, it's playoff hockey. Like, you got to want to score, you got to want to defend your goalie and your net. But the Gudis one and like the Pasternak one, the puck wasn't there. There was no other people there. That's a penalty.
Right.
So
not even close.
Yeah. So I mean, those are the kind of distinctions that I think you need to be able to make when it's the playoffs.
Yeah. All right. Chirp 6 after game 2. It turns out there was a massive overreaction from some Bruins fans. Doesn't this Bruins team deserve more credit than we give them?
100%. Yes. Yeah, I mean, the fans were acting like the Bruins were going to come out and get swept. They after game 1 or whatever. They haven't lost 4 games in a row all year in a row. Right. So, to think that they weren't going to bounce back when that's been their MO all year. They bounce back all year, and even within games they've bounced back. They get down and then they bounce back and somehow win games late. And they definitely deserve more leeway than the fans gave them credit for. And I'm not saying I was guilty of, I think they were going to lose the series, but it does make it makes you nervous. Sure. Certainly, but I'm nervous before every game. My stomach's in knots before every game. So that's me in the playoffs. But you need to be able to kind of give them the benefit of the doubt of the kind of year that they've had and the kind of leadership and so forth they have on this team to be able to bounce back and right the ship.
Well, I mean, and I'll even go back previous to this year. This core of players has been very resilient over the years. I mean, time after time after time, when they've been down on the mat, they've gotten back up, and I think they deserve more credit than that. There's still some people out there who think they're chokers, think they're going to lose at the end of the day, and some of that may be warranted, but for the most part, I mean, this has been a team that could Marchand, Krejci, Bergeron could be to 4 Stanley Cup Finals. You know what I mean? That's pretty impressive over a 12-year period. Like, that's pretty impressive, And I know they've only won 1, and certainly winning 2 would ease a lot of the criticism. Mm-hmm. But I do think that this team is pretty resilient overall. All right, and then chirp number 7. Bruins have been blasting Summer of '69 after wins. Your thoughts?
Great song.
It's
great song. I love it. It's a great song. And I'll tell you what.
Does anybody know why?
I have no idea. I'll tell you what, though. Reckless by Bryan Adams.
Yes.
Criminally underrated album.
It is.
It is an underrated album. I mean, I was looking at it early today. It has like a pretty good run here of, One Night Love Affair, She's Only Happy When It's Dancing, Run to You, Heaven, Somebody, Summer of '69. Jesus. Like that's a really good like top 6 there. And then, Kids Want to Rock, It's Only Love. Like, there's probably 7 or 8 hits on that album. That's that's a pretty damn good album. So if you want to blast something, that's not a bad pick. Because it's a Summer of '69 obviously is a sing along. Everybody knows the damn words. So get after it. I love it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Today in the car, I heard This Time by Bryan Adams.
Oh,
this time.
Yeah.
I was jamming in the car. Like,
sure.
Bryan Adams is criminally underrated.
He really is. That Reckless album. Go out and get it, folks. It's good stuff.
No doubt.
Download it on the Spotify.
No question. DraftKings Sportsbook, Boston's hometown sportsbook, is live right here in Massachusetts. Bet local on all your favorite sports from the comfort of your own home with DraftKings. To celebrate, all new customers will receive up to $200 in bonus bets when you sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook using code ITR. You can now bet local on money lines, spreads, props, and more with one of America's top-rated sportsbooks, DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and sign up with the code ITR to get up to $200 in bonus bets to use now that mobile sports betting is live in Massachusetts. That's code ITR only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
If your loved one is experiencing problems with gambling, call 800-327-5050 or visit helplinema.org to speak with a trained specialist free and confidentially 24/7. 21 plus, physically present in Mass. Eligibility restrictions apply. Subject to regulatory licensing requirements. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as free bets. Terms at DraftKings.com/MA.
All right, time for beauties and benders from today's game, Game 4. And we have 5 beauties. So number 5 is Thomas Nosek.
Gonna love you, eh? They're gonna be loving you from dawn until dusk.
Talk about underrated. Thomas Nosek, 2 assists in the game, 3 block shots, and 14 of 18 on the faceoff dot.
Yeah, he was huge today. Played a really, really good game. Took a lot of defensive zone draws late when they needed him to, and 14 of 18 shows you he won most of them. Played really responsible defensively, chipped in with a couple of assists, which is always great to see. So, yeah, Thomas Nosek certainly deserves to be a beauty today.
Sure, absolutely. And also, beauty, the fourth, number 2 beauty, no, I'm sorry, the number 4 beauty is Tyler Bertuzzi.
Gonna love you, eh? They're gonna be loving you from dawn until dusk.
Tyler Bertuzzi had a goal on an unbelievable tip goal right through the 5-hole of Bobrovsky. He also had an assist, 5 shots, and 5 hits, and he plays in a way that really endears himself to Bruins fans.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not on board of, the re-signed Tyler bandwagon, hop on. There's plenty of room.
Yeah.
There's plenty of room. Hop on board, and we'll see if we can get him signed up for, a long-term deal with the Bruins, because everybody wants him to stick around. He was excellent today. And, the tip goal, he was fired up. The half the crowd was Bruins fans. They were fired up. I was fired up. I mean, everybody, let's get Tyler signed up and keep him here for a long time.
I'll tell you what, I usually try not to fall in love with like the late season acquisition that does well and all that stuff, because sometimes you can do that. But I would literally trade people to keep Tyler Bertuzzi. I would trade Taylor Hall. I would pick Bertuzzi over Hall going forward.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough call after the game that Taylor Hall had today.
But you know what? Over the course of time, Taylor Hall also disappoints you some.
Yeah,
frustrates you some.
He does.
But that goal he had today was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, not a lot of people score that goal. I mean, that was just ridiculous. All right, and then let's see. Beauty number 3 is Linus Ullmark.
Gonna love you, eh? They're going to be loving you from dawn until dusk.
He's certainly battling through something physically, but he has played great, and then he's willing to fight. So I'll tell you what, he's taken on that Tim Thomas sort of role.
Yeah.
It's like it's a little weird.
He's ready to go. I mean, I think he's focused. He's into the games. He's wanting to protect his crease. He's kind of a big dude. So, I think somebody asked him earlier when there was a goalie fight or a possible goalie fight between a couple of people, and he was like, "No, I would never get involved in that." All it takes is a little Matty Tkachuk to bring the best out of you, and he was ready to drop him today. So, good for Linus, and hopefully he continues to play really well through whatever he's battling here.
Yeah, I think Tkachuk must have said the magic word, because Ullmark was not happy at all.
No.
All right, beauty number 2, Jake DeBrusk.
Gonna love you, eh? They're gonna be loving you from dawn until dusk.
I'll tell you what, big goal Jake. I mean, he's had some big goals in the playoffs in his career. 2 huge goals today, and 2 goals that when Jake DeBrusk is on, that's where he's scoring from. On his knees, on a tip in front, and then the banging in the rebound.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's vintage Jake DeBrusk, and he comes up big at times. And that goal to make it 4-2 was enormous.
It was huge goal.
If the Panthers tie that game, and you happen to lose this game, then you start to get nervous, because that would have been a bad loss today. And Jake comes up with a huge goal.
100%. He was great today. I thought he was skating. He was hitting too. And then, the greasy goals around the net's what you need from him, when he's on, like you said.
Yeah, we like Jake. His mother Cindy likes our tweets, so we like the
Yeah,
the
big
Bruins
fan of
family
Jake.
as a whole. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and then beauty number 1, Taylor Hall.
Gonna love you, eh? They're gonna be loving you from dawn until dusk.
2 goals, 2 assists in only 15 minutes of play. Supremely talented, as we all know, and we saw a glimpse of that today.
Yeah, I mean, he's been great all playoffs, really.
Yeah.
I mean, he was playing with Frederick. He set Frederick up for a couple of great plays on 2-on-1s. He scored the first goal yesterday. I mean, he's had some really big goals and has really been playing great since he's come back from injury. His power play entries have been fantastic. I think that's really helped. He was the guy who brought the puck in on the I believe it was the DeBrusque goal or the he brought it in, went to the wing, and then
I think that was the fourth goal, right?
I think so. Yeah. So he's really helped with the zone entries, and he's just dynamic when he has his legs moving, and he's I mean, it's the reason he was a number 1 overall pick. He has that kind of ability. So it's nice to see him showcase that when it matters most.
And he's one of those star players that you could use. He's visibly noticeable on the ice the way he plays. Like he's got that hunched over power stride. Like it's Taylor Hall. It used to be back in the day you could identify guys on the ice by the way they played, and that's totally identifiable with Hall. He's just a powerful skater, blows by guys, and that finish today was like whoa. Like he does all that, then he catches the puck. He catches up to the puck, and then boom, 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 and it's in the net. And like, wow, that was quite a goal. So there's 5 beauties today, and that's only 5. There were 6 or 8 of them.
I mean, Charlie Cole could have been in there, McAvoy, Lindholm. I mean, there was a bunch of guys who could have made it in. That's why we had to increase it to 5 because there was too many guys that had great games today. Yeah. And we have 4 benders because there are a lot of assholes on the other team too. So here we go with the benders. Number 4, Radko Gudas.
Bender.
He didn't do anything particularly bad, stupid, nasty today, but he's the Montreal Canadiens of this list. For as long as this series goes along, Radko Gudas is going to be a bender because he's an asshole and I can't stand him.
Yeah, I mean, I had him as the villain prior to the series, and he still is. I mean, he started in that game when he was throwing around Marchand like it was a rag doll.
Yeah.
That's the type of guy he is. He's not very good. Don't let anybody tell you he's any good because he's really not very good at all. And when they lost Ekblad, and I looked at that defensive pairings, I was like, oh boy, this is a game the Bruins need to win because that was a who's who of who's not very good. So,
absolutely. All right, number 3 bender, Sam Bennett.
Bender.
Cup check on Hathaway, laying prone on the ice. It's not nice. It's just not a nice thing to do.
And he's done a lot of douchey little things. Like he had another guy over, like a whistle was blown, and he kind of like he like slapped the guy in the head. Like, what are you doing? Like, stop it.
Yeah.
It just. I mean, I know he missed the first game. He's missed some time prior to the playoffs, and they were all happy that they came back. And fine, he scored 16 goals. He scored a goal in his first game back. Great. Like he was a good addition for them. But he's trying to take on this role that, come on, Sam. I mean, you just stop it. You're not that kind of guy. You're not going to drop the gloves. You're not going to give me a break. And they resorted, like you said, they've resorted to, we're not very good. We're not good enough. So we're going to do all this gimmicky, nasty little stuff and try to bait the Bruins into some penalties that we can't score on because they have the best penalty kill in the league.
Yeah, 100% true.
There you go.
Number 2, Brandon Montour.
Bender.
He's just a turd, isn't he?
Isn't he? He's a turd. Like even like when his face looks turdish. Like that's a face that you want to punch. Like seriously.
He's got a punchable face. Brandon Montour, number 2 bender with a punchable face.
He so does. He comes charging in like he's Lou Ferrigno, like on the scrum, like he's gonna do anything.
What is he, like 5'11", 172? I don't know. Yeah. I have no idea how tall he is. Maybe he's a big guy. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
but just not a fan of Brandon Montour. No. And the number 1 bender, big surprise, Matty Tkachuk.
Bender.
Just a gutless play with Hathaway, cross checking him in the ribs, and then hitting on him when he's down, and the play with Allmark, it was started with an cross check to Allmark's face. I don't know if people noticed that. They didn't call a penalty on that part of it. I'm not sure why.
When was hitting the goalie allowed ever?
Yeah, I guess it is. I guess it is in the playoffs. I guess it is here, Matachuk. You can get away with that kind of stuff, and you know, the league will allow it to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, he plays on the out. I mean, he's tremendously talented. I mean, you saw it by the goal he scored. He pulled the puck off the netting, the side netting, and puts it between his legs and scores before Allmark can get back over there. So he has the hands, he has the talent, he has great hockey IQ, but he's just a nasty, douchey son of a bitch most of the time. And maybe that gives him more space around the net because people don't want to deal with him. And he has to play that way in order to be effective, which is probably true. That was true with Marchand early on in his career. I don't think that's true anymore. I think Marchand has kind of gotten away from that stuff for the most part. And maybe Tkachuk will as he kind of matures. But right now, he's just a fucking grade A asshole. I mean,
yeah, and I've heard that Drew Doughty doesn't like him at all because he won't, like, he'll do this stuff and chirp and everything, and then not drop the gloves. And, of course, Drew Doughty is one of the great chirpers of all time.
He certainly is.
But he'll back it up, and he'll
knock
your teeth down your throat.
Sure he will.
So he doesn't like Tkachuk at all. And, you know, it's just one of those things where and his father was a tough guy and a really good player. Jesus. And his brother's a good player. And Matt's a good player. But he's shown – and Evan Marinofsky said this on Twitter today. He's like, it almost seems as though he's playing like the series is already over. Like with some of the shenanigans he's pulling. Like he's trying to get, you know, he's hitting the goalie and he's trying to get into these scrums where it's almost like the series is over and we're frustrated enough that we're just going to take some liberties now. And, you know, he is what he is. I will say this, ironically, Darcy Kemper was suspended 2 games this year for a blocker punch to Tkachuk's face. So there you go. It's not just Linus Ullmark who hates him.
I'm sure Darcy Kemper was like, that's the best 2-game suspension I've ever served.
Ever. That was a waffle to the brain. Yeah, that was good. All right, so next game is, Wednesday, April the 26th. Game 5 will be in TD Garden against Florida at 7 p.m., and the Bruins will try to close out the series there. We'll see about Patrice Bergeron, I'm sure, in the next couple of days. We'll see about David Krejci and also Linus Ullmark and see who is in the lineup for that one. Hey, the Bruins affiliates playoff update. Providence Bruins will begin on April 28th. It's Friday night against the Hartford Wolfpack, the Rangers affiliate. And the Maine Mariners are down 2-0 to Reading in the ECHL playoffs as they fight for the Kelly Cup in the ECHL. So go to InsideTheRink.com for Bruins Benders merchandise. Follow us at Bruins Benders on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Download the Inside the Rink app. Subscribe to the Inside the Rink YouTube page to see all of our content. Please rate and review on Apple and subscribe and follow on the podcast platforms. Sign up for ESPN Plus at InsideTheRink.com/ESPN and download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code ITR. And we will be back again right after Game 5 on Wednesday night. Until then, thanks for listening, and go Bruins.
Here we go, Bruins. Here we go. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.